Hi, and welcome to our series on advanced objection handling skills for salespeople, or how to deal with sales objections and get closer to winning that deal. You know, it doesn't matter how consultative your approach is, or how careful you are in the sales process. Any buyer out there in the real world will have some concerns that need taking care of before they commit to buying from you and not one of your competitors. And how do these concerns get expressed? Well, as objections, which must be addressed before you can expect to close a sale. As salespeople, we all want to minimise the barriers to a sale. So it's not surprising that most salespeople keep hoping they'll find some silver bullets or clever words that would just blow away objections. The problem is, there is no silver bullet, no magical words that you can use. But if you get objection handling wrong, you'll end up losing deals you should have won. And half the time, you won't even know why you lost out. And here's our SCTV warning. Poor objection handling can seriously damage your wealth. Strong objection handling skills are vital to the sales process. Really successful salespeople just seem to have a knack for this. They seem to be able to get to the heart of a customer objection, break down the barrier that stops them moving forward. With these skills, they can secure more business and earn more commission in less time than their colleagues. But how do they do it? Well, you've come to the right place to find out. In this short series of videos, you'll learn a time-tested, proven process for getting repeatable success in breaking down those tricky barriers to the sale. In this introduction, we'll show you exactly where so many people go wrong with objection handling. We'll give you the 2 basic principles for objection handling and describe a simple 6-step process for successful objection handling based on best practice. So first, let's agree what we mean by objection handling. Traditionally, it can be defined as the way in which salespeople handle obstacles put in the way by clients. Does that sound familiar? When we're focused on making that sale, it's win or lose. Anything that reduces the chances of it being a win is an obstacle to be flattened or pushed out of the way as quickly as possible. This often dictates how we treat objections. We just react, answer, get them off the table. I like to use a very simple but more positive definition of objection handling, and that is listening to clients' concerns and becoming proficient in addressing them. This definition recognises that what we're dealing with is a concern to be addressed. It's not an obstacle put there to trip us up. As a buyer, think about the concerns that you have. Will it do what it claims? What if it goes wrong? Could I get a better deal somewhere else? None of these are obstacles you deliberately place to trip up a seller. They're just your way of saying, you haven't yet convinced me to buy from you, and I need some reassurance I'm making the right decision. So where do salespeople get it wrong? It's almost always right at the start, and it's all to do with mindset. When a customer raises an objection, do you see it as a threat to your deal, your commission and your bonus? If so, you'll feel like you're under attack. Your natural fight-flight mechanisms will kick in and you'll want to neutralise that threat. Get it off the table and out of the way as quickly as you possibly can. We're all guilty of doing that at some time. But do we do our best thinking when we're under this kind of pressure? Of course not. As a result, we get overly defensive, which often results in a weak answer or an unconvinced customer. Or alternatively, we overact and attack back. This could leave the customer wondering why we're being so aggressive and whether we're really the right partner to do business with. Either way, it's certainly not the outcome you're looking for. But the good news is, objection handling doesn't have to be like this. Firstly, we need to find a way to reduce the stress that kicks in when an objection is raised. One way to do this is to buy some thinking time to calm yourself down to come up with a good answer. So we look at a way to buy ourselves some time. It would also be good to minimise any potential conflict in the situation, so we'll need to demonstrate some empathy with our customer. And remember what it's like to be a buyer. We'll often seek out someone who understands our concerns and can help us to address them, or to balance them against the benefits. So you'll need good questioning skills to get to the root of the customer's concern. You'll also need to be certain that you've addressed the issue to the customer's satisfaction, so you'll need to check this. If as salespeople we can alter our mindset from overcoming objections to improving customers' understanding, it positions the objection handling process in a whole new light. Now, let's start to consider the process of objection handling as a series of 6 simple steps. These are: first, listening and acknowledging; second, asking for more; third, exploring the objection; fourth, confirming your understanding; fifth, answering the issue or deferring it; and sixth, checking and closing. In the rest of the episodes in this series, Brian and I will go into each of these steps in more detail. As a result, you'll have a rock-solid framework you can use every time you run into a sales objection. But before we get started, I just want to make one final point. I'll be describing this process mainly in the context of handling objections, but the principles apply equally to dealing with any questions the customer may have. Customers come up with questions all the time, and it's very easy for us to simply answer the question and then continue on with what we wanted to say. But by taking every question at face value, we may well be missing some opportunities. Customers don't just ask questions to find out information. There are often other forces at play. They may be thinking about other ways of using your service, making comparisons with your competitors, wondering how to justify the investment, and so on. Following this 6-step process will help you uncover what's behind the question. This will put you in a position not only to answer the question, but also to address the sometimes implicit concerns behind it. So with all this in mind, let's get ready to move on to the very first step of advanced objection handling process. So I'll hand over to Brian, who'll describe this crucial first part of listening and acknowledging, and I'll see you again later.
You don't know.